Hey everyone, my name is Mia and today I'll be going over all the books I read in 2024 so far. It is November, so I have a couple books left to read and I'll be going over those as well. I have my laptop here open with my Goodreads so we can go over all the books, my ratings of them, and what led me to read them. So let's get into the video. So first I want to go in order. From what I started with to what I ended with. You can't even see the bottom, but we're gonna go through that, and then I have a couple more, and then I have a stack of books that I'm going to be reading next, and I'm gonna go into those as well. So if you see one of your favorites, please stick along and we can go into those together. So the first book I read this year was Captivated by You by Sylvia Day. This is the last book in her Crossfire series. And let me just be honest here. The first two books were really good, and then she dragged out the last two. And I meant to finish this book on December 31st of 2023, but that just didn't happen. So I ended up finishing it on January 1st, which is why it is in here, and why it's counted on my Goodreads books I read in 2024. So I ranked this book 4 stars, and that's mainly because I could have ranked it 3 now in retrospect, but I ranked it 4 stars because I was going off the storyline and how she incorporated the storylines of the characters and the plot. But she really dragged it out. Like, book 3 and 4 could have been one book, which is why I docked it down 1 star. And the ending was horrible. The ending sucked so bad. But I wanted to give her benefit of the doubt because the series started out so strong and I just wanted to finish. But yeah, that's Captivated by You by Sylvia Day. So the next book I read is Atlas of the Heart by Brené Brown. This book really I hold near and dear to me. It's a nonfiction book about, well, let me just read it. It says mapping meaningful connection and the language of the human experience. So it goes over like 40 something emotions that humans have and just the way they feel them, distinguishing certain feelings from another, like envy from jealousy, so on and so forth. This book really helped me get in touch with who I am and how I experience my emotions, and really did validate a lot of things for me. So I rated this book 5 stars. Rewind, I lied. I rated this book 4 stars. I don't know why I did. I feel like in retrospect I should have rated it 5. This book, I'm probably gonna read it again at some point. But if I read it again this year, it won't count towards my Goodreads 2024 count, so next year. But this book was really, really good. So the next book I read was Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. I'm so sorry. But this book, the storytelling, the plot, she really did her big one with this. I've heard of the Hulu series about it with Kerry Washington, and I've seen some reviews about it, and I have no inclination to watch it, mainly because from what I've heard, it doesn't follow the big plot lines of the book, and it doesn't end right either. So if it doesn't follow the book, why am I gonna watch it? Maybe one day. But this book was really good. I really liked how they went in depth with every character, like every character except for the dad, well, all dads really had a storyline, and I really liked that. And this is what sent me into a fiction frenzy, as you'll see in the next coming books. I rated this book 4 stars. Why? I don't know. Typically, I don't know why I rate books the way I rate them. It's really just based off of vibes. in the moment that I'm feeling that I finish the book, like as soon as I finish a book, I'm running to Goodreads to rank it or rate it. And this one ended up being 4 stars, so that's how I felt at the time. So now we're moving into March. We're moving into March of this year, and that's when I picked up Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. This book, I know I keep saying that, but this one has to be one of my favorites of the year, mainly because it was just so good. Like, she really honed in on the solitude of, oh my gosh, I forgot her name, Kaya. She really honed into the solitude of Kaya, and how she came to be the Marsh Girl, and it was so good. And also the whodunit, really did it for me. And that's what led me, the mystery of this book led me to pick up another mystery later on down the year. And yes, this really is a staple for me, and will continue to be for a very long time. Every single library or bookshelf I have will have this book on it. And I did rate it 5 stars. Like, it had to be 5 stars. There was no way it wasn't going to be. So yes, Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens, 10 out of 10. The next book I read this year, this was in April. So, and I also finished it in 4 days. This is how you know I love this book. And it's like, how many? It's long. Whoa. First of all, I put the sleeve on upside down, so we're not going to talk about that. But this has about 500 pages in it. This book, I ate it up. Ate it up in 4 days. I'm a historical fiction, well, I love history. So history plus fiction, as the fiction kick that I mentioned that Little Fires Everywhere sent me into, this was a perfect mix of that. I believe I read the last 3 books back to back, or almost back to back. It took me a while to finish Where the Crawdads Sing, but as soon as I finished that, I picked up this one and I was done in 4 days. But yes, Ruta Sepetys, sorry. She really honed in on what it meant to be in Spain during the reign of Fernando, I don't even remember his name, Francisco Franco, General Francisco Franco of Spain. Real person, real nasty person. If you don't know who he is, look it up, because yikes. But the storyline this goes into was really good, and it was also a male main character, and I don't think I've ever read a book that had a male main character. So yeah, this really did it for me. So I highly recommend Bound to Silence. Really good. I also rated this 5 stars because it just deserves 5 stars. If you read it, you know. If you know, you know. So yes, Bound to Silence. Now we're moving into May. So at this rate, I'm reading about a book a month. Why I told myself I could read 30 books this year, I don't know. Do you know you have 30 minutes? Like, that's how I feel right now, knowing that I've only read 14 books this year, and it's November 10th. Oh no, it's November 11th, and I'm nowhere near. Am I going to read 15 books in the next month and a half? We'll see. Maybe that'll be a video. Finishing my Goodreads 2024 challenge, so we'll see. But the next book I read was Homegoing by Ya Gyasi. So this book, I was on the historical fiction kick from the last book, Bound to Silence, and it was good. Well, the last book was good. This one, it started off good, and I do appreciate how she incorporated the traditional historical aspects of African culture, but it really did feel like a drag, and I was losing track of who we're following because this is a generational book. So it'll start with one generation. Okay, let me just explain. So it starts with this one lady, and she has two twins, and basically it follows the storyline of those twins generationally. One of their generational line stays in Africa, the other ends up sold to slavery, ends up in the United States. So it transferred back and forth from line to line, generational line to generational line, and I really could not keep track of who was who until the end, but even then I was still confused. It took me about, I would say it took me about a month to finish this book, solely because I was very confused and I really didn't want to pick it up. But I rated it 3 stars because the storytelling was good. It did go in depth. There was some connection between the characters, and I did learn a lot about my own culture, being an African American, and what it was like just for my ancestors, or what it could have been like, because I really don't know. But yeah, rated this 3 stars. Wouldn't pick it up again. Probably wouldn't recommend it, but I commend her for the research and everything that she put into this book, which is why I didn't rate it anything lower than 3 stars. So, yep. Homegoing by Yasi. Next. This is up there with Fountains of Silence, my favorite book of the year. Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. Yeah. If you've read this book, you know it's just so good. It speaks about let me explain. So basically the main character is the son of the first female president of the United States, and he's gay. And but it was just really good, and there's a correlation to the royal family and how the son of the prince heir, or the second heir, Prince Harry, modern day Prince Harry, is gay, and they fall in love. But it talks about their love story and real true enemies to lovers, and I love an enemies to lovers. So this one really did it for me. I rated it 5 stars. As I said, it's up there with Fountains of Silence for one of my favorite books of the year. There's so much witty humor. I cried a couple times, and you really do feel the emotions of the characters while you're reading this book. So yeah, Red, White, and Royal Blue. Ooh, I was about to pick up the next book, but I'm skipping. I almost skipped this whole entire series, the ACOTAR series by Sarah J. Maas. This was my introduction. I'm just gonna hold it up like this. This was my introduction to romantasy. I love romance, and then you add the real fiction, the fantasy. This is my first time picking up fantasy. I fell head over heels for this series, truly. I've been hearing about ACOTAR for a long time. It's been on my TBR, or it was at the time that I read it on my TBR for almost a year, if not more. So, ow. Yes, ACOTAR. I love the series. So, started with this one, Court of Thorns and Roses. Tamlin. I'm not gonna spoil anything for anybody. Just know. All I have to say about the book is Tamlin. Okay. Next, Court of Mist and Fury. This book, it's up there. Like, a lot of people say that this is their favorite book of the series, And I could say that it's, for me, it's either this one, A Court of Mist and Fury, or this one, A Court of Winds and Ruin. These two, they're, as you can see, they're the thickest books in the series. Well, besides this one, but this one isn't about the same main character as these. So these two, the love story, the plot, and again, this is another series where the author really does hone in on the storylines of each character. Like, everybody has character, everybody has traits, everybody has things that you know that they're gonna do because that's just them. You know their backstory. And yeah, so ACOTAR, I'll go in order of how I ranked them. So actually, so I rated ACOTAR, or the actual ACOTAR, A Court of Thorns and Roses, 4 stars. The rest of them were 5. If that says anything about how I feel about this series, yes. So Sarah J. Maas did her big one, and I will be going into more of her books, but I'll talk about that later. So ACOTAR took me about a month and a half, almost 2 months to read. That's about, each book is at least 400 pages, so I've definitely read about 3,000 pages in that span of time. And that's like world record for me. Like, I really could have, if I wanted to reach my Goodreads, I could have read, like, if I split these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I could have read 8 books in the span that I read 5. So that's how dedicated I was to this series, and it's really what made me throw away the completion of my Goodreads 2024 book challenge, because at this point I don't know if I'm gonna reach 30 books. So I'm only at 14 right now. Anywho, next is What the River Knows by Isabel Banez. This was good. It's about a girl. She's Argentinian, and her parents die in Egypt. And her parents have lived in Egypt on and off her whole life. Like, she doesn't really have that much of a close connection with them because they're always in Egypt. Anyway, her parents die in Egypt, but her uncle, who was also in Egypt, doesn't want to communicate as to what happened. She doesn't know, so she gets on a ship to go to Egypt to figure out what happened. And I'll let you read the rest. But another murder mystery, kinda, but not really, because it ends on a cliffhanger. And there's a second book that just came out a couple days ago, just got shipped to my house, and I'm gonna get into that when I go into the next books I'm going to read. But What the River Knows by Isabel Banez, I rated this 4 stars. A lot of the reviews on Goodreads were very mixed because of how it ended. But yeah, I'm very excited to pick up the second book, but I will get into that in a second. Last book I've completed this year, not counting the book I'm currently reading, is The Maid by Nita Prose. This is a very popular book. If you haven't heard about this book, where have you been? This is another murder mystery. If you're seeing a trend here, welcome. This is another murder mystery about Molly Maid. She's a maid. Duh. This book was good, but also it just became very stereotypical in the end with the backgrounds of the characters, and I couldn't really lock in. Like, once it got to the middle, I was like, what's going on here? So I ended up ranking this 3 stars. Only book I've ranked 3 stars this year, I think. Am I correct? Yes. It's the only book. Oh no, I'm lying. I did rank Homegoing 3 stars. Pretty much for the same reason. I just couldn't lock in after a certain point because it wasn't captivating. Like, I just wanted to finish for the sake of finishing for my Goodreads. So yeah, that's this. The Maid by Nita Prose. And now into books that I haven't read or haven't finished. So at the moment, I'm currently reading The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. As you can see, I'm almost done. If you know what happens in the end of the book, don't tell me because I don't know yet. But another murder mystery. But there's multiple murders, and basically he's at this house. It's called Blackheath. It's this estate, and basically he lives the lives of multiple people. He lives the lives the same day over and over and over until he can solve the murder of Evelyn Hardcastle. Yeah. So on the back it says, I'm just gonna read it because I have nothing else to say about this book because I haven't finished it yet. But it says, Evelyn Hardcastle will die every day until Aidan Bishop can identify her killer and break the cycle. But every time the day begins again, Aidan wakes up in the body of a different guest, and some of his hosts are more helpful than others. This is really good so far. It's really long, mainly because he's living the same day over and over, and you have to also piece together while he's piecing together. So I've been listening to this a lot on audiobook, mainly because following this on paper is really hard for me. So I'm just listening to it on audiobook. Now that I've gotten to the end, I've started to read it actually in the book again, hence my bookmark. Oh, do y'all want to see my bookmark? It's Tupac. He's so cute. Like, yeah. This is by Inspire the Tribe. I do have a couple more. I have a Selena one and I have an Aaliyah one. They make really good bookmarks. I don't know if you can find them on Instagram because I deleted it. Go see my last video. But yeah, Inspire the Tribe. They make bookmarks. Tangent, not important. 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. About to finish it. I'll probably finish it by the end of the week. And then maybe in my next book video, or maybe I'll do a book vlog, I'll tell y'all how I felt about it. Or you can follow me on Goodreads and we can talk about it then. So clearly that's all the books that I've read in 2024 so far. But I also want to go over what I'm going to read next, and other things. So first, I want to go into a book that I DNF'd, did not finish this year. And let me find the name. Hold on. So the book I DNF'd, I don't even have it here because it's my mom's house, because I really didn't even want to bring it to my new apartment because I didn't finish it and I have no inclination to. It's called Early Departures by Justin A. Reynolds. I'm going to put it on the screen. So the concept of the book was very, very mature. It was that his friend that he's not really friends with anymore dies, and then there's the opportunity to bring him back for only a certain amount of days. And I thought that was a very mature concept, so I picked up the book, reading. I got to like the middle, and then I just get completely turned off. I get the ick. And then I started looking it up, and it's a book targeted to like middle and high schoolers, but I didn't get that vibe in the first like half of the book. So I was just very disappointed. Did not finish. Had no inclination to finish it after that. If you've read the book, if you're watching this, you probably haven't read the book given the audience. But if you do end up picking it up and you finish it, let me know how it is. But I just couldn't do it. Speaking of DNFs, I'm not counting this as a DNF right now because I'm only a little bit of the ways in. Like, I really haven't set into the book yet. But let me just reorganize myself over here. It's A Little Life by Hanya Yada. Little Life. This is a very popular book. Again, if you've been living under a rock, then you don't know what this is. If you haven't been living under a rock, then you know what this is, because this book has been trending on every social media platform for at least like 2 or 3 years. But as I said, I've only gotten to page 41 out of 800. What did you say? Like, what? 800? I didn't even know it had 800 pages, and I'm kind of mad that I saw that now because that makes me kind of not want to finish it. But I'm also on page 41, so I kind of got to get back into it. Given how long it is, I probably won't finish it this year or even touch it this year, for the same reason that I mentioned of the ACOTAR series, because it's so long and I can read so many other books in this time span that I read this one really long book. Okay, now we're moving on to completely unrelated books that I want to read this year, or finishing out this year. So this is the continuation of What the River Knows, and they really ate down on the covers. Like, hello. So, like, even when they're next to each other on my bookshelf, like, that's just so freaking cute. Okay, anyway, so the second installment of What the River Knows is Where the Library Hides, and I'm pretty sure it picks up right where we left off in book 1. I'm very excited to get into this. Haven't even looked at the reviews yet, if there even are any, because this book came out, as I said earlier, about 6 days ago. It came out on November 5th, and it's now November 11th, and it got shipped to my house about on the 7th. So I have the book now, and I'm very excited to start this. I'll probably be reading this immediately. Ooh, sorry. Okay, we're kind of back. Not really, but hey. I'll probably end up finishing this or reading this right after I finish the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, mainly because I just finished What the River Knows about a month ago, so the story's fresh in my mind, so I can pick this up without having to reread What the River Knows. Okay, I need to organize this, because I also have to put them back on the bookshelf, so they need to be organized. So next book I want to read this year is Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zauner. My bad. Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zauner. This has been on my TBR for a while, ever since it started trending a long time ago, and I actually got it for free. So in my apartment building, people tend to leave free stuff downstairs, like in the lobby, just on this desk, and they just, like, things they don't want, they just put there. This was on there, and I almost screamed. I was like, a book on my TBR that I don't have to pay for? Thank you very much. And it's in large print. I tend to like large print books more. I don't know why, but Where the Crawdads Sing was also large print, and I tend to enjoy it more just because I'm not constantly straining my eyes to see where I'm at on the page. But it also makes the book a little longer, so it's up to preference. But yes, Crying in H Mart. I couldn't even tell you what it's about. But next on my TBR after Where the Library Hides. Okay, so next I'm going to go into a couple series. I only have the first book of each series though. So first is Twisted Love, of the Twisted series by Anna Huang. I'm very excited to get into this series. I've heard so many good things, and it's spicy. I haven't read any spicy books since ACOTAR months ago, so I want to get back into some spicy romance books. But yeah, so Twisted Love. Next, well, not even, I should stop saying next, because I don't even know what order I'm going to read these books in anymore, because I'm really going to be speed reading at the end of the year so I can get to my 30 books. So we'll see. But anyway, Twisted Love. This is book 1 of the Twisted series. And then after this is Twisted Games, Twisted Hate, and then Twisted Lies. It's a 4-book series. So if I end up picking this up, I'm going to have to buy 3 more books, which is why I only went and bought the first one. So I don't even know if I'm going to like it. But given that I already bought it, I'm probably going to finish the series anyway. Okay. Sarah J. Maas is coming back. She's making another appearance. Throne of Glass. This is another Sarah J. Maas series. I think this is a 3-book series. Oh no, I'm lying. There's like 7 books. There's like 7 books in this series. But I'm very excited for this one. I've heard so many good things about this series. So many. And we're back to the romantasy. It's Sarah J. Maas. And I'm excited to get to the end of each book and where everything is just falling apart. Because that's how she hooks you in to get to the next book. Because literally everything falls apart at the end of each book. Or at least if it follows ACOTAR. But given what I've seen on TikTok, or not TikTok, because I haven't had TikTok in a while, but what I've seen on Instagram Reels before I deleted it was that the world just falls apart at the end of every Sarah J. Maas book. So, yeah, Throne of Glass. That's on my TBR as well. And then last Sarah J. Maas mention, last series mention is Crescent City series, also by Sarah J. Maas. This is the first book, House of Earth and Blood. She's thick. Let's see. How many pages? 819. 819 pages. Am I concerned? Just a tad. But going back to just the thick book. Actually, given that it's Sarah J. Maas, I might fly through this one. I'm not even gonna hold you. But we'll see when I pick this up. It may be soon, it may not be. But after this book is House of Sky and Breath, and then House of Flame and Shadow. And then luckily for me, so when I go and buy the rest of these series, they put the rest of them, both Throne of Glass and Crescent City, in here. So yes, Throne of Glass is 8 books. 8! And Crescent City is only 3, but they're all just as thick as this one. So we'll see when I pick it up. And I have 2 books left, and they're classics. And these will probably be books that I finished this year, just because I've been meaning to read them for the longest time. So first is A Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. I did start trying to read this about a year ago, and I just couldn't follow the old English of it. But now that I've read more and I'm back into reading in the flow of just reading books again, I feel like I can pick this up and finish it very quickly too. But I'll have to reread the first like 30 pages just because I don't remember what's going on. But yes, this is an absolute classic, The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. And also, I don't know if I'm making this up, but I think that this A reminded me of what's it called? Pretty Little Liars. Is that based off of this? Or did I make that up? I don't know. Let me know in the comments, but we'll see. Okay, and then last but not least, 1984 by George Orwell. Another classic and a dystopia, I believe. And I believe that this is going to be very telling for the next couple of years, given how the election just went. I saw someone say on Instagram between this book and I don't know what the other book was, but it was this book and another old classic, and it said it was like a mockery where it was like, oh my god, I love dystopias. I didn't think they would become true though. So we'll see how this goes. I don't know what's in it, but I know it's a classic and it's been on my bookshelf for a very long time, so I'm very excited to get into this one as well. So that's the end of my 2024, what I've read so far, what I plan on reading, my DNFs, my rankings of all the books, and my favorites. If you like this video, please like and share and comment and subscribe. In my next couple videos, I'll probably be going into more books or doing a 24-hour reading challenge. I've been wanting to do that for a while. Or a crochet video, everything I've crocheted in 2024. I don't know what I'll be making next, but I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.